When I was in middle school, I lost my period, and a couple years ago, I finally got it back. So today I want to share with you how I did that and everything I learned about my period from that experience. Let's talk about periods! Hey wonderful human beings, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Remy and I share lots of vegan content and tips to help you live well. Today's video is pretty self-explanatory. I think you can guess what we're talking about by the title of this video. Today's video has been highly requested, so I've been really excited to make this video for you guys, and I'm actually really excited because we have a sponsor, but it's a sponsor that I actually reached out to a couple months ago. So I'm really excited to have them on board. I'll tell you a little bit about them later on in the video, but I shared with them that I was making this video and let them know that they've been such a big part of my healing and my journey to recovering my period. So let's get on with the video. I thought I would just share with you why I lost my period in case you're unfamiliar with my story. So when I was young, I struggled with an eating disorder. I was anorexic and I lost my period for more than 3 to 4 years, I think. I almost lose track because I kind of just accepted it. I actually thought it was really cool, if I'm being totally honest, because nobody likes getting their period. I was like, this is awesome. I can play sports. I don't have to worry about going swimming. Sick. But then as I got older, I realized that having a period is a true sign of health, and it was kind of the missing piece in the puzzle of my recovery journey from the eating disorder. I also have a lot of friends that are older than me, and they were thinking about things like kids, their future. Of course, you know, it's a conversation I would have with Mo, my boyfriend, and I realized that whether or not I would actually end up having kids, it's something that I would like to have a say in and like to be able to. Another thing I really learned is that having a period is so beautiful because to me, it's a sign that your body trusts you enough and it feels safe and supported and nourished, so much so that it could potentially bring another life into this world. When you're in survival mode or your body's just fighting to stay alive, it's obviously not going to think about supporting another life on top of just allowing you to get by. So that to me is a really important sign of health. If you've lost your period, whether it's due to an eating disorder, working out too much, or stress, it's definitely something that's worth looking into. I fully believe in that. So I hope you will find this video helpful if that's something you're interested in doing. I'm gonna walk you through cycle syncing, which is really kind of the overarching theme of what really helped me restore my period and what keeps me in tune with my hormonal health now. And then I'll just dive into a couple tips and talk about the main things that I tried that really work for me. Because if you're anything like me and you've done a Google search, there are tons of recommendations out on the internet, and I've definitely tried almost everything. I was desperate. So hopefully this will help you, and let's get right into it. I can't believe I almost forgot to throw out the disclaimers, but these are really important. I am not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing anyone. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just sharing my story and what's worked for me. Every single body is so different. Medical history, family history, it all plays a role. So please listen to your doctor. Don't listen to me, some random chick on YouTube. If anything, just take these suggestions as points that you can bring up to your doctor and see if they'll work for you as well. Every time I post one of these videos, I get questions like, oh my God, how long did it take you to get your period back? Or I'm doing X, Y, and Z and I still haven't gotten it back. Unfortunately, I can't help you specifically. I just don't know your history well enough. If you're watching this video, you obviously have a desire to heal and recover that. So just trust in the process, trust in the people who know your history and know what they're doing. This is just gonna be me sharing my story and telling you what worked for me. Okay, so one of the most important steps to recovering your period is healing. So if you are struggling with something like an eating disorder, make sure you work on that first and fully recover before you even begin to think about getting your period back. That's kind of something that, for me at least, took a lot longer than restoring my weight and working on the eating. If it's exercise that's really getting you down, I would consider scaling back on that first, because if you don't make that initial lifestyle change, whatever that source cause is of you not getting your period, the rest of the things that you do aren't really gonna have an impact. You've gotta really work on fixing the cause, not just treating the symptoms, if that makes sense. The number one thing that I would recommend to you guys, and the thing that I wanted to talk about the most in this video, is cycle syncing and just really getting in sync with your hormones. Cycle syncing is basically getting in tune with where you are in your menstrual cycle and then acting accordingly. So changing things like what you eat, how much you sleep, the kinds of workouts you do, even the types of food that you're eating. And it's really important just to have an understanding of the cycle itself, because for a lot of us coming off of no period, there's gonna be this big chunk of time where you're gonna have a very irregular period, and I'll talk a little bit more about how to identify your period or understand where you are in your cycle if you've got a wonky period, because being totally honest, my period was so whack for so many years until only about a couple months ago I can say it's regular-ish, and it's still an ish. There are a couple ways you can track your cycle these days. There are so many awesome apps out there. Something that I really like to do and I found really helpful for my healing was using this fertility tracker. Now, of course, I'm not really using this to plan a pregnancy or anything like that, but it's really important because it takes your basal body temperature, and that is one of the most accurate ways to track where you are in your cycle. So it's one of the signs that you can make note of in your chart, or if you have like a notebook or something. But I think it's really important for you to invest in something that will really help you identify where you're at, because when you don't know, you can't really follow the steps that I'm about to share with you. So this is the Daysy. This is what I specifically use. How you do it is you just push the on button, and then you slip it under your tongue until it beeps again, and then it's recorded your temperature. It connects to its own app. It's called the Daysy View app, and then it conveniently logs all your temperatures and estimates where you are in your cycle. The only downside is it does take a couple of weeks at least to try and get used to your cycle, but that's really a benefit because it estimates based on your cycle, which if you've got a weird one like me is really great, because most of the apps out there are just estimating based on like the normal cycle length, which is probably going to be not applicable to you if you're in my position. Also, just a funny side note is that my friend Jasmine, I put this on my Instagram story, and my friend Jasmine from Sweet Simple Vegan, her boyfriend saw my story and thought that the way that you take your temperature with this is putting it somewhere else, but it just goes under your tongue. It's no biggie. Put it next to your bedside table. You've probably seen it in some of my vlogs and like what I eat in a day videos. It becomes a habit after a while. So it's really, really handy because once I knew what part of my cycle I was in, I was then able to cycle sync my habits like working out, eating, sleeping. Two of the main things that I like to think about when I'm thinking about my cycle and my hormones are what I'm eating, and also the kinds of workouts I'm doing and the intensity. So basically how it works is there are sort of set of recommended things that you should do when you're in your luteal phase, for example, versus when you're menstruating. For example, when you're menstruating or you actually have your period, you might eat more healthy fats and opt for restorative workouts versus hard-hitting workouts, and that's because it impacts your stress hormones a little bit differently depending on where you're at. So you really want to try to live for your cycle, if that makes sense. Just give it all the support that it needs, especially if you're trying to get it back. It's almost like raising a kid or something. Like you're just putting your all into the kid to help it as much as possible. That was a really weird analogy, but you know what I mean. Another two things that are really important are sleep and also stress. So as much as you can minimize stress in general is the goal in life, I think, but especially when you're on your period or you're expecting your period, like that week before, treat it like a treat yourself kind of week. Like be really good about getting more sleep, stressing less, and also stressing about your period is definitely not going to help you. I remember I used to stress out about whether or not I was going to get my period when I was anticipating. My app that I was using before I had the Daysy would tell me like your period should be here, and it wouldn't come, and I would be so distraught because I would just remind myself another cycle missed. It's really just about patience and knowing that you're going to get it. Feed yourself with like positive mindset, positive thoughts. As silly as it sounds, telling yourself that you're so stressed because you're not getting your period is probably going to stress you out and put pressure on your stress hormones too, which is not helpful for getting your period, trust me. I'm also the type of person that doesn't really sleep very much at all, and if you've been watching for a while, you may know that about me. It's a really, really bad habit, but I find that when I'm on my A game with sleeping enough, just getting into a routine habit. So if you can, sleeping at the same time every night, waking up at the same time every night, you want your body to feel safe and know what to expect. Just make things comfortable for your body, because for so long, while you haven't had your period, your body's been stressed out or just feeling uncomfortable and unsafe. So I know it sounds silly, but you just want to get back in touch with your body and make sure that it feels safe. Another tool that I really relied on a lot was seed cycling. Of course, you do need to know where you are in your cycle in order to seed cycle, which is where, again, the Daysy comes into hand, or just knowing your body temperature really well. So seed cycling is basically eating a different kind of seed based on where you are in your cycle, and it's supposed to support your hormones and things like estrogen, progesterone balances in your body. It's just a great way to kind of support it naturally, which is awesome because personally, I try and rely on natural and holistic healing methods as much as possible. I really wanted to, as I said, heal the actual cause, not just kind of remedy it with a quick fix or a medicine. But if medicine is something that you need and your doctor's telling you that you need, definitely do it. You can always do that for a little bit and supplement it with these natural remedies that I'm sharing with you. But you know, eating seeds is super easy, it's affordable, it's completely non-toxic, it's safe. So that's another really good one that you could look into for sure. One last thing that really helped me was acupuncture, which can be really scary for a lot of people. It's basically getting needles stuck into different pressure points in your body, and it activates blood flow, circulation, the movement of qi in your body. It's a traditional Chinese medicine practice. You can really get it in almost any city that you're living in, which is such a nice luxury. It is on the pricier side, but there was a period in time where I felt like I was so close to getting my period back. I had gotten one and I just really wanted to keep it going. So I started doing acupuncture to support that, and most traditional Chinese medicine doctors and acupuncturists will know how to stimulate different parts of your body for whatever the need that you have is. So it's not really like a one-time thing, like stick some needles in and boom, you're bleeding. That's not really how it works. It's an ongoing thing, as are most of these things actually. Lifestyle changes take some time, seed cycling takes time. So again, going back to patience, it's the key word of the day. But anyway, acupuncture, yes, it's pricey, but if you have the means, if it's available where you are, that might be something to look into as well, because it's a great ongoing practice to have. And it's something a little bit more long-term that's focused on fixing the source or the root of your problem versus just giving you a bleed. Since we've been talking about healing the source versus immediate healing, I will touch on the fact that there are definitely things that are available, pharmaceuticals, things that a lot of traditional doctors can recommend to you. And honestly, they probably know their stuff a lot more than I do. But my main concern was healing the source versus relying on something like birth control, for example, which does regulate your cycle, but it kind of gives you a false cycle, if that makes sense. I didn't really want to do that because I really wanted to be able to, first of all, just get my period and then support it naturally and sustain it. I felt like I didn't want to be trapped to taking birth control for the rest of my life. I also saw a lot of my friends who came off of birth control and it was almost like they were having a puberty experience all over again, because it creates a cycle for you that is very much routine, which is why it helps a lot of people with things like cramping or, irregular periods. But it's definitely something that only works when you're taking it. I feel like once you stop, it's not something that heals your issues. There are lots of guides online with recommendations for different kinds of food to eat to support different parts of your period. Now, I don't know if all of that is always true. I've heard things like eating a papaya is really helpful, eating root vegetables and sweet potatoes before your period to encourage it is helpful. And I can do another video if you guys are interested on things that I do the week before I'm expecting my period to just like maximize my opportunity and my chances of getting a period. It's like that week is like my focus is just like period. I just want to get it. I do everything to try and support it and make my body feel comfortable. And when I get it, it's the best feeling. I'm still at that part of my life where when I do get a period, I'm so excited. And I know that's not really normal. Usually it's a drag to get your period. I don't know how long that's gonna last, but let me just tell you guys, it is the best feeling to know that you're healthy and to just feel so accomplished because you've put that time and effort in and you've just been patient. I know that it's really frustrating, and I will say that I was very impatient for so long, but trust the process and commit to it. That is going to be so key. Commit to it, be consistent, and know that the time that it takes for your body to heal may be just as long as the amount of time you spent harming it, or even longer sometimes. So hang in there, be patient, don't give up on it, and above all, just treat your body well. We only have one body in this life, and it's such a gift. Did I have anything else to say? I think that's about it. So I want to thank Daisy again for sponsoring today's video. It's been such a dream to partner with them. I attended this event, I saw someone there who was repping Daisy, and I reached out because I basically told her, thank you guys so much for helping me get my period back. It has changed my life. It has helped me understand my body. There are so many amazing tools out there nowadays that help us understand what's going on in there that we can't see, and it's a gift. I mean, it's crazy to say, but having a period is truly a gift, and even though it sucks, cramps suck, bloating sucks, I do want to say, by the way, seed cycling is great for eliminating some of those symptoms, and you can have a pretty pain-free period when you're in tune, because all of those are just expressions of when your body is not getting exactly what it needs to do at that time. That makes sense, right? If you guys aren't sick of me talking about periods and you want to see more videos on this topic, something that I'm really passionate about is making my period zero waste. I can proudly say I have 100% made my period zero waste, so I'd love to share that with you guys, and maybe something like what I do in the week before I'm expecting my period and things I do to support it. So let me know what you guys think. Comment below, let me know if this video was helpful and if you've tried any of the things that I've shared. If you have recommendations for everyone and you want to share that with the community, I'm sure people will find it helpful as well. And you know, everyone has such a different experience. So if you've got something to share, leave it in the comments below. Thank you so much again to Daisy, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye! I'm filming a period video, your favorite.
Periods.